Hello, my name is Madison Rich, and this is UCC Talk 24. And here on this channel, we're all about the UCC, public and private rights, giving people information and knowledge to enrich themselves. I'm here with my co-host Shatik Ferguson, and we're going to talk about lease cars and how smart people can discharge lease cars. Okay, and we're going to get into a clip from Earn Your Leisure. This guy's got a heck of a show, but we're gonna give our take on lease cars, right? And right after this clip, and then we have a couple of documents, important documents that we're gonna get into. That it's gonna be real exciting, and I'm gonna add a lot of value. So stay to the end. Please like and subscribe when you get a chance. This is definitely some powerful information. This is UCC Talk 24, and we're going to get into this clip. All right, you ready, Shatik?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. Get ready for the fun.
Most people, you'll hear that a lot. People say, well, you don't own the car, right? The truth is, do you want to own a vehicle that's going to lose value, right? Very rarely do cars go up in value. So that's why leasing is so prevalent. 70, 80%, like you said, of people lease the vehicles. When you're financing the vehicle, you technically own it, but the bank owns it while you're financing. So until you pay it off, the vehicle still belongs to the bank. Hold
on, guys. We're going to debunk that. The bank does not own it. Let's make that clear. Okay.
Title's held by the bank. You're not the owner of that vehicle.
That's a common misconception. You own the car either way.
Yeah.
Until you finally pay it off, and then when you do pay it off, more people want to trade it in.
They want to trade it in right away.
Yeah. So it's old. By the time you own it, now it's old. Exactly. But another thing with the leasing that people don't fully understand. So, like for me personally, right, the reason why I lease is that so I'm a business owner.
Yep.
Right. So I get better tax treatment for leasing a car.
Exactly.
Whereas, like with the lease, I can write off the insurance, the gas, and the lease payment formula percentage. We won't get too complicated in it, but I can write that off on my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
If I own the car, then I have to go by the depreciation.
Correct.
Because it's a own. I get less of a tax benefit for owning a car. So it's in my benefit to lease the car because it's pretty much a write-off for me, and I don't have to worry about maintenance, right? So I haven't paid for oil change, and I can't remember when, because on lease everything is paid for.
And warranties too.
Yes, and then I get a new car every 3 years. Now I always tell, like, if you want to, everybody's personal preference is different. You can't force your views on somebody, right? Like if you want to keep a car for 10 years, that's your right. You can do that. I don't want to do that. I want a new car.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to cost me a lot more money to buy a car and then buy a new car every 3 years, as opposed to leasing a car and then getting a new car every 3 years. And the upfront is less.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on a lease, you only pay, let's say, the taxes, right? When you're financing a vehicle, you pay tax on the whole price of the car. Or on a lease, you only pay tax on, let's say, the monthly payment. Depending on the state and where you're registering the car, let's say, like New York, you're only paying tax on the monthly payment.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there, guys. So after that, we're gonna get into this document. All right, very important information. Okay, so we're gonna talk about a little about what he said as far as the financing part. See how he's teaching how to be a debtor. Right there, he's saying the banks own the car when you finance it, which is not true. Should I take one to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I was listening to the guys. Yeah, I like this channel. They have a lot of good information. You know, sometimes depending on people's mindset and which avenue they traveling, you know, they can get a pretty misconstrued and unclear vision of what's being given to him. So let me just give you an example of a guy that I once came up under, right? Shout out to Philly, all my people out in Philly. I keep your name silent. But anyway, so he was explaining to me or whatever, and I used to always have my say on leasing, right? He said, well, that's why you gotta understand the importance of what true value is. Right? He said it's good to have the asset, right?
Right.
It's good to have the material, right? Opposed to giving out. He said because, like, let's use the car thing for an example. If I own the car, right? Depending on how smart I am and how educated I am when it comes to commerce, I might take the title, right, and use it, right, to create more money, right?
Securitize it.
I can securitize it.
Or collateralize it. Put it up as collateral.
That's right. Securitize it, collateralize it, and put it up for more. I'm creating of what I want. I need the assets because the assets I don't even never have to lose the car.
Right.
I can keep the car even if there ain't no such thing as missing a payment now. I can keep the car and use the title as collateral. But not just a title, not just a car. I'll bundle up everything I own and put all of it on one value and use that as collateral and still keep everything I own. See, sometimes you gotta understand the true meaning of commerce.
That's right.
Why you think people buy islands? You think they just bought the island because they want to be fancy? No.
It's the law merchant.
Exactly.
It's the law of merchants. This is what they're practicing. But it's funny how he was saying, because banks are registries, they're private registries. Everything is a registration. Not everything, but this is what they're dealing with. That's why they say they're the register holders. But they're not the holders in due course. There's a difference between a holder and a holder in due course. Look that up. We are the holder in due course. Especially when you lay claim and you register it first.
And a lot of people really don't know how to do business right at the federal window.
Discount window.
Right at the discount window, they're truly blinded to that technique. So of course you have to go to a third party, which is going to always be a bank, because they're going to make sure that
they're your agents.
They're your agent. Unfortunately, when they get all the paperwork and they get you to turn over your signature, and they use that as if they're the ones taking out the loan for you. No bank has money.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The bank's not taking out the loan.
As soon as you open up a bank account, you are secure. You have a security interest in the account. A lot of people don't know that.
Right.
You automatically you sign all type of contracts when you open up a bank account. Sometimes you just have to be a little more forceful on your claims to the account. So some people file UCCs. Some people have other methods to secure the security interest in the accounts. Okay, so that's what you have to learn how to do. So you heard what he said that you don't own the car, the bank owns it. But how could that be? That makes no sense.
Can't be. It's impossible.
Right.
You could pay the bank and assume that the bank owns the car and they have title to the car. But if they do have title to the car, then we have a problem. Houston,
we have a problem.
How did the bank lay claim to the title?
And another thing too, though, they pledge. They're in a contract with the Federal Reserve banks to pledge property. You understand? They pledge your property without taking ownership or use of the property. They call that hypothecation.
Right.
Look that up. Hypothecation. Black's Law Dictionary. Okay. So you're basically making a pledge of your property, but you just have to know how to lay claim to your property. We have consultations services to teach you to learn how to secure your interest in your private property and commercial property. All right. You have to know how to like banks. A lot of people don't know that they're agents. You have to direct them and show them and how to do things on your behalf. Especially if you're acting like a sovereign, you need to have lawyer, right, to act on your behalf sometimes as authorized agent in certain transactions. You understand? So you have to know how to administer your agents. That's what the Queen of England does, right?
Absolutely.
She has agents, esquires that go on business ventures. All right, so you have to know how to employ your agents on business ventures. You hear what I just said? You have to know how to employ your agents on business ventures. That means banks, lawyers, accountants. These are your agents. Even public officials are what? Your servants. Huh? So when you operate as a sovereign, you start realizing how much power you have when you start learning this information. You understand? You start realizing as a private citizen, you have unlimited credit.
So as a private citizen, you should be dealing with assets.
You already see, they do have a lot of views as well, but it's funny how the guys teaching people how to be a debtor. But I noticed how the guy kind of contrary to what he was saying, like basically he gets everything in his business name and he gets the tax write-off at the end of the year. Because a lot of times what people do is they buy a brand new car every year and they get the tax write-off for more than 50% value of the car. Some people discharge the debt on the car.
Which that's a whole nother process.
Right. And once we got the document, because everything's debits and credits. All right. So this is an old document, because everything is based on English law. And you see, this comes out of the archives right here. All right. This is an old document, very old. So this is basically how the banks operate. Right. So this is basically like a policy on how the banks operate with debits and credits. And it can get very confusing too, also. So you're gonna hear us talk about that a lot, debits and credits. You understand? So anytime you open an account, you have a security interest in that account. And actually, the money's already in the account. Is just on a different ledger, as you're gonna see from this document. We're gonna know this is some powerful stuff right here. All right. So we're gonna read this in the next page, and I got another document that we're gonna get into. This is some nice stuff. So check it out. All right, you ready? All right. The same principle of bookkeeping applied to bank accounts. The double entry system is utilized, and two distinct entries are made, either for cash received or paid. The business of a bank consists in making a profit on the deposits of customers who find it convenient to have a portion of their capital for safekeeping.
Let me just expand on that a little bit, because I find this, out of all the information that I read, to be one of the most important paragraphs, because it's blatant, but to someone who's looking for help, you might think that it's your helper, right? So depending on how you're reading it, depends on how you interact with it. Right, so the business of a bank consists the business of a bank. So a bank is doing business, right? So its job consists in making a profit on the deposits of customers, right? Who find it convenient to leave a portion of their capital there for safekeeping. Doesn't mean they have to.
That's right.
Keep it there. Doesn't even mean they have to go through them to do it.
That's right.
But if you choose to use this establishment, right?
That's right.
Then it's going to get its just due. It's going to get its portion of the capital for safekeeping. I don't want to just hold. I need a percentage of holding your money here.
Custodial fees.
Custodial fees.
And what is capital? Capital is wealth in the form of money or other assets owned by a person or organization, or available or contributed for a particular purpose, such as starting a company or investing. Right? Rates of return on invested capital.
Deposits.
That's right.
Deposits of customers. Right? Look at the deposits. It doesn't always come in the form of a check. Sometimes they come in the form of promissory notes, a promise to pay.
That's why when you start your business, man, you have to know how to access your capital. The bank has your capital. You have to know how to access it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and read the next paragraph. Okay, this is some right stuff right here. A bank starts business with a large paid-up capital so that the cash account is debited for the amount. The customer who deposits cash have the current accounts credited and the cash account debited. See, let me say that again. The customers who deposit cash have the current accounts credited and the cash account debited. See, that's how the system runs: debits and credits. It's either a credit, then a debit, or a debit, then a credit. And look what happens when you use other forms of paper, right? When checks are drawn, the reverse operation takes place. The customer's account is debited. You see now how they reversed it? It's not a credit first, it's a debit first. And then a cash account is credited. So it's debits and credits, or credits and debits. It can be confusing, and this is what they trick you with. Okay? So you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I love that. That was self-explanatory. It's self-explanatory. The debt has already been.
Yeah, all accounts is people don't even know when you open up an account. This is short up to $250,000 if it's a FDIC insured bank. You know, so.
It's already debited.
So they're already telling you right there what the process is. If you're putting cash in there, your account is credited and your cash account is debited.
Right.
And then the opposite happens when you are dealing with bills of exchange and promissory notes. You understand? So you're gonna have they switch the operations around when it comes to that. But we have consultation services. If you want to know how to open up with a value, right, and access your capital, right, and know how to employ the banks as your authorized agents to act on your behalf. You understand? So look, this is something else that's very important when it comes to UCC, right? Agreements and the description of collateral. So we're going to get into this a little bit. I'm going to read this defined security agreement. See, this is what they do when you get a loan for a car or a house. You sign a security agreement. So you have to know how to protect yourself when you sign these security agreements. In my other video, I have a video on without recourse, right? That basically teaches you how to protect your security interests and property when you're signing a contract. Right? I put non-recourse, what capacity I'm signing, such as a secured party creditor or authorized agent with my signature. You understand? So I'm going to go ahead and get into this. An agreement that creates or provides for a security interest. Alright, so when they give you a contract, when it comes to a lease or a loan agreement, they're looking to try to create a security agreement in that contract. Alright, so that's the same process even when you deal with wholesale real estate.
That's right.
They're looking to create an agreement that provides for a security interest in the property, which is represented in the contract. Okay? To satisfy that definition, a written security agreement need only include words that indicate the debtor is creating a security interest in the collateral. Article 9 mandates no particular words or phrase as indispensable to create an effective security interest. For example, a security agreement that provides debtor grants creditor a security interest in all its equipment satisfies the security agreement requirement. A security agreement has many attributes of a contract, and the contract law governs interpretation of the security agreement unless a section of the UCC displaces it. The debtor must authenticate the security agreement to satisfy the section. Alright? So see here what it says? The debtor must authenticate, the security agreement to satisfy Section 9. Section 9 defines authenticate as to sign or to execute or otherwise adopt a symbol or encrypt or similar process a record in whole or in part with the person intent of the authenticating person to identify the person, adopt or accept a record. This definition by authorizing signing or encrypting allows for both written and electronic security agreements. A mark, symbol, or printed signature is a sufficient authentication if the person makes it with the intent to adopt or accept the record. Alright, so you have to be careful when you just sign documents, because you're basically granting them a security interest in the property. So you have to know how to protect your security interests when you sign the documents. It's very important. Description of the collateral. To comply with Section 9, the security agreement must provide a description of the collateral, and if the security interest covers timber to be cut, the description of the land concerned. Neither Section 9-203 nor its comments provide any elaboration of description of the collateral. Sections 9-108, however, establish a general rule for a sufficient description and also supplies examples of sufficient and insufficient descriptions. Although Section 9-108 does not declare expressly that it applies to security agreement descriptions. Okay, now we're going to stop right there. Alright, so anytime even if when you're looking to establish a security interest in the property, right? Let's just say if you're wholesale real estate, you're in wholesale real estate and you're looking to get a contract, right? You have to describe the collateral sufficiently in the description box of the UCC ones. Now, a lot of times people get the contracts and they file it with the county recorder. So the person can't sell it once you get the house under contract. Because if you don't do that, a lot of times what'll happen is that you'll pay for or make a earnest money deposit on the house and get a contract, and the person will sell the house under your nose. That's because they didn't record it or file it with the county recorder. Okay, so this is also what the banks do also. If you don't claim your property, right, on the 1099A acquisition form, they file it for you, right? I think it's something like 30 days, and they basically register the paperwork and act as if they're the holders in due course, when really they're just holders of a debt instrument, right, pledged to the Federal Reserve Bank. So they basically take your promissory note, right, and go to the Federal Reserve Bank, and they get credit for this note. You understand? Should I tell you? You want to weigh in on that? What you think about that? But it's funny how that guy was teaching the people how to be debtors. That's just crazy. But they was kind of breaking it down for him, how it is better to see to own a corporation and have your property, your cars in the corporation's name. And we're gonna have a link in the description if you want to start your business today, right? And we'll also have our numbers so you can get consultation on getting funding, right, immediately. Okay, we have certain things that we have in place to help you get funding. So definitely reach out right? Number will be in the description. You have anything to say, Shanti?
No, just have a good night.
All right, guys. We're gonna be back with more videos. Stay tuned. This is UCC Talk 24.